Welcome, all you Halloween babies out there. This is episode 4 of Halloween Babies Podcast. I am your host, Billy D, coming at you from Richmond, Virginia. Trying out a new microphone today, trying to slowly upgrade. Halloween Babies Podcast is a firm believer in the philosophy of baby steps. Baby steps to get where you're going to go, you know. Don't stand still, just baby steps. Baby steps will get you where you need to go. So what are we going to talk about today? Let's do a run through of what I have watched this month. It is currently November 22nd, 2023. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. And then I'm going on a little vacation, so I don't know if I'm going to get in many movies the rest of this month. So I figured, hey, let's run through what I've seen so far. So first up, we have Snow White, A Tale of Terror from 1997. This was originally supposed to air in theaters, but was released on Showtime. I found it on Prime. It's listed as adventure fantasy horror. It is directed by Michael Cohen with a screenplay by Tom Zolosi and Deborah Serra, with a story by the Brothers Grimm, and it stars Sigourney Weaver, Sam Neill, and Monica Keena. In this dark take on the fairy tale, the growing hatred of a noblewoman, secretly a practitioner of the dark arts, attempts to kill her stepdaughter. So the real reason to watch this, of course, is for Sigourney Weaver's performance. She has stated that she never understood how the king would be so stupid as to marry such a cruel woman and wanted to provide a stepmother character with the best intentions of being a mother. The old age makeup on Sigourney Weaver in a few scenes is really excellent. I recommend this one. It's a 6.5 out of 10. Next up was Suitable Flesh from 2023. I caught this on Prime. It's listed as a horror thriller directed by Joe Lynch, written by Dennis Paoli, who has adapted many H.P. Lovecraft stories for Stuart Gordon, who unfortunately passed away in 2020. It stars Heather Graham, Judah Lewis, Barbara Crampton, and Bruce Davison. A psychiatrist becomes obsessed with one of her young patients, who she later discovers is linked to an ancient curse. This is basically a body swap psychological thriller mixed with some old school softcore erotica. Unfortunately, this one did not work for me. I've enjoyed the previous works of Joe Lynch, but I feel he was not the right fit to bring this Lovecraftian horror film to life. It just felt cheap and underwhelming to me. Sorry, Joe Lynch. I give this a 5 out of 10. Next up is Project Eerie from 2023. I caught this on Prime. It's listed as horror. It's directed and written by Ricky Umberger, who I was not familiar with, but apparently he is known for writing and directing a series of found footage films known as the Fear Footage. Project Eerie takes place on Halloween 2020 and follows 2 teenage boys who commit some holiday pranks and break-ins. They come across a DVD of some secret government footage, and then the film is broken up into segments as they watch the DVD and witness documentations of strange occurrences. This is a super low-budget found footage anthology that has a few effective, intense moments, but does suffer from some poor writing and acting. On the plus side, it's only 76 minutes, so if you're a found footage enthusiast, you might want to check it out. I give it a 5.5 out of 10. So next up is a film called Evolution, and I was listening to an old episode of the New Flesh podcast, and one of the former hosts, Joe Avella, was talking with Brett Arnold about a film called Evolution, and he was highly recommending it. I caught it on Tubi. I believe it's available on Shudder as well. It's from 2016. It is listed as a drama, horror, mystery, sci-fi film. It's directed by Lucille Hadziahalovic, and it's written by Lucille Hadzialovich and Alanti Kavati with collaboration by Jeff Cox. I'm sure I only pronounced Jeff Cox's name correctly, and I'm actually not even sure about that. This stars Max Brabant and Roxanne Duran. And the only residents of young Nicholas's seaside town are women and boys. When Nicholas sees a corpse in the ocean one day, he begins to question his existence and surroundings. Why must he and all the other young boys be hospitalized? This movie is beautiful, haunting, and slowly paced. It's a French language film. It has very little dialogue and even less exposition. It relies heavily on imagery of the sea, especially starfish, that apparently represent hope, change, creativity, fertility, transformation, and the power of the natural world. About halfway through, elements of body horror start to appear, and a few fleeting glimpses of what is happening shine through, but I doubt this film is about the actual narrative we are shown. It's an artsy slow burn with women and young boys hanging out on the Canary Islands. So if that doesn't scare you off, check out this gorgeously strange little film. It's only 81 minutes. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Next up is a film that I had seen before, but I was about halfway through before I realized I had seen it, probably back in my drinking days. It is called I Am Not a Serial Killer from 2016. I caught it on Tubi. It's classified as a crime, drama, horror, mystery, thriller, directed by Billy O'Brien, written by Billy O'Brien, Christopher Hyde, and Dan Wells, starring Max Records, Christopher Lloyd, and Laura Frazier. In a small Midwestern town, a family of morticians and a disturbed teenage boy deal with bodies piling up due to a serial killer. This has a look that made me nostalgic for late 90s indie cinema. I found the story to be fun and engaging, and the performances were good. I give this one a 7 out of 10. Next up is a film called Trespassers that somehow slipped by me because I had not heard of it. It was released in 2019. I caught it on Hulu. It's listed as an action, crime, horror, thriller. It's directed by Orson Oblowitz, written by Corey Deschon, starring Angela Trimbore, Janelle Parrish, Jonathan Howard, Zach Avery, Fairuza Balk, and Carlo Rota. Two young couples rent a Mojave Desert luxury house for a weekend of partying. The doorbell rings and the body count begins. Although the story is derivative, I found it had an energy and unhinged plot and style that was engaging and entertaining. Throw in Fairuza Balk and an 88-minute runtime, and you've got a home invasion film that's worth a watch. I give it a 6 out of 10. Next up was a rewatch for me of The Night House from 2021. And man, I love this movie. I caught it on Prime. It's a horror, mystery, thriller, directed by David Bruckner, written by Ben Collins and Luke Piotrowski. A widow begins to uncover her recently deceased husband's disturbing secrets. This one stars Rebecca Hall, Sarah Goldberg, Vondi Curtis Hall, and Evan Yonagit. So for some of us, there is a dark nothingness dressed in robes of depression and despair that can follow for a lifetime. Those people will most likely relate to this film and find the beauty within this story as it unfolds. David Bruckner's haunting images of the nothingness that surrounds us all and Rebecca Hall's powerful performance helped to make this a modern classic. When I first saw this, I kept wondering, where is this going? What type of film is this? It combines so many different horror elements, but in the end, for me, it's a love story about how far a person will go to ease another's pain. This is a 9.5 out of 10 for me. Next up is Enys Men, not Enys Men, but Enys Men, which is Cornish for Stone Island. This is a 2023 film. I caught it on Hulu. It's listed as fantasy, horror, and mystery. Written and directed by Mark Jenkin, starring Mary Woodvine. This takes place in 1973 on an island off the British coast and looks and sounds like it was produced in that era. We follow the volunteer as she conducts daily observations of a rare flower while her days slowly devolve into esoteric fever dreams. Mark Jenkins shot this on aged film stock littered with scratches, lens flares, and textural grit. All the sound was synced in post-production and comes across as uncanny and slightly hypnotic. This film is simply beautiful to look at. Unfortunately, there's just not enough story to grasp onto. It's ambitious and experimental, and I dare say it shares a cinematic language with the ever-divisive Skinamarink. I'm giving this a 5.5 out of 10 as an overall rating, but the production value and artistry is an 8.5 out of 10. Next up is Dogtooth from 2009. I caught this on Prime. It's listed as a drama thriller, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, written by Yorgos Lanthimos and Eftimis Philippou. Probably not pronouncing that correctly at all. And I'm not going to pronounce any of these names correctly. It stars let's sound it out, Billy. Christos Sturgiogliou, Michelle Valley, Angeliki Papalouia, Christos Passalis, and Mary Soni. I butchered all of those. Anyway, it's about a controlling, manipulative father who locks his 3 adult offspring in a state of perpetual childhood by keeping them prisoner within the sprawling family compound. If you're familiar with Yorgos Lanthimos, you know he is a master at creating these strange worlds and situations that question the normalcy and awkwardness of the human condition. His dialogue is delivered in a strange, matter-of-fact way, at times devoid of emotion. By the end of the films, you were generally left wondering, what the hell did I just watch and what does it all mean? Dogtooth may not be for most casual viewers, but horror fans just might find some things to grasp onto. And one thing for sure, you might not love Yorgos's films, but you will not forget them. This is a 7.5 out of 10. Next up, I went to the theater with my lovely wife to catch out Thanksgiving. So this is a 2023 horror mystery thriller directed by Eli Roth with a screenplay by Jeff Rendell and the story by Eli Roth, starring Patrick Dempsey, Ty Olsson, Gina Gershon, Nell Verlaque, Jaylene Thomas Brooks, and a slew of other people. After a Black Friday riot ends in tragedy, a mysterious Thanksgiving-inspired killer terrorizes Plymouth, Massachusetts. This one is for the slasher fans. It's got loads of gore, stupid teenagers, a masked killer, quippy one-liners, and plot holes, plot holes, plot holes. Look, I'm not a big fan of Roth, but I've enjoyed most of his films, and I knew a lot of people have been waiting 16 years for this one, and I found it to be just fine. I was hoping for a bit more inventiveness and panache from Eli, but I didn't leave the theater disappointed, just slightly underwhelmed. I'm not a huge slasher fan. I enjoy them, but they're not my bread and butter. I'm more of a zombie guy. I just listened to Jay of the Dead's new horror movie review of this, and they all seem to love it, love it, love it. Spoiler alert, they kind of give the killer away with the very first scene with a homage to Halloween and the POV view and the heavy breathing, and boom, you know who the killer is. The gore was top notch. That was great. If I sit with this one a little bit longer, maybe I'll come up on my rating, but right now I'm at a 6.5 out of 10. So speaking of Thanksgiving themed films, I rewatched Kristy from 2015. I caught this on Tubi. It's a horror thriller directed by Ali Blackburn, written by Anthony Jasinski, starring Haley Bennett, Ashley Greene, Lucas Till, Erica Ashe, James Ransom, and Matthew St. Patrick. This premiered 8 years ago on the Lifetime channel, but I first caught it on Netflix shortly after that. It seems to be slowly gaining traction in the horror community as a solid Thanksgiving-themed staple. Haley Bennett has beautifully sad eyes and does a great job playing a college girl alone on campus over the holidays as a cult try to hunt her down. But she is not easy to catch and definitely not just another Kristy. I give this a 7 out of 10. So that's pretty much all my watches for November. Me and the wife are slowly working through X-Files. We're about halfway through season 5 and digging that. We've also started watching Bodies on Netflix, a little sci-fi thriller. We're about 2 episodes in on that. It's pretty entertaining, but kind of dense. Other than that, I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And if you would like to reach out to me, you can email me at halloweenbabiespodcast@gmail.com. And you can also reach me through Halloween Babies Podcast on Instagram and YouTube. And I would just like to remind everyone it's okay to take baby steps. You will get where you're going. As long as you're moving forward, you're moving somewhere. Thank you and happy holidays.